Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Friday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It is 20 Zulu on August 16th, 2024. And this is the weekend special where you never know what you're going to get. Today we have Katie, KE8LQR, who is one of our outstanding youth operators. Hello, Katie.
Hi, everyone.
So, Katie, you've had a very busy summer.
Yes.
I guess maybe you started off with what you did over in Friedrichshafen. You went to the big German Hamfest over in Europe. How was that trip?
That was absolutely amazing. It was really, really fun getting to catch up with all of my friends over there that I've met before and meet a lot of them that I haven't gotten to meet in person yet.
And so did you see interesting equipment?
A lot of it was just talking to people. I did see a little bit of interesting equipment, like in the swap my dad and I walked through a couple times.
Okay. And was it hard to get over to Germany?
It was a little bit of a trip, yeah.
And this is your first time going to Europe, is that right?
Yes.
So what was it like going through, where did you fly into and how were the logistics?
So the logistics were a little bit crazy. We actually flew out of Toronto, which is 4 hours away from my house. So we drove up to Toronto and then flew into Berlin, which is not super close to Friedrichshafen. So we spent the first half of the week. We stayed with Karsten, Delta Mike 9, Echo Echo. And then halfway through the week, we drove down to Friedrichshafen, my dad and I, and then we stayed down there. And then really quickly, I think Sunday, we drove back up to Berlin and then flew out Monday morning.
Wow. So that was a lot going on, but were you able to, I mean, you talked about, meeting other people over there. Some of them you had never met before. How about the youth operators over in Europe? Did you see some of them?
Yes, definitely got to meet a lot of YODA kids from Europe. A lot of us are friends on social media already, so we know each other exist, but we've never met in person. So I got to meet a lot of people at Ham Camp over there as well.
Were they surprised to see you?
A few of them, yes.
No, that's great, and what a great trip. And then you come back and you go to Halifax, Nova Scotia, for YODA camp. How was that?
That was also absolutely incredible. It was really funny because there were a couple kids from France and Austria who had been at Friedrichshafen the week before. It was like, oh, hi again. I think this is probably the closest I'll ever see you back to back.
Wow. And how long of a drive was that up to Halifax?
If we had driven, it probably would have been over 24 hours, but my mom and I flew up.
Oh, well, good for you. And so how many people attended the YODA camp up there?
There were about 28 to 30 campers, and then with staff, probably over 50 people involved.
So tell us about some of the activities that went on.
So at YODA camp, we try to do as many different things as we can because it's a retention camp. So we want to make sure that kids can find something that they're interested in. We do ARDF, so amateur radio direction finding, fox hunts, stuff like that. We usually have a CW session. I ran that this year. It was lots of fun. We have satellites, a crash course on contesting, so anything you can think of, pretty much.
Wow. And how many days was the YODA camp?
So YODA camp runs from halfway through the day Sunday to about noon on Friday.
Okay. So a lot going on. And then the trip back. So, so you got Friedrichshafen, you got YODA camp, and then you also operated the IARU radio sport contest at K8 Alpha Zulu. How did that go?
That was super fun. We kind of made a pit stop on the way back home. We flew in and out of Cleveland for Halifax, and K8AZ is in Cleveland. So on the way back, once we'd landed, we spent the night in Cleveland, got up the next day, and I went and contested there.
And did you work a lot of people? I mean, what bands were you on? What did you do?
Yeah, so I started out on 15-meter phone, which was not super fun. And then I got to do a little bit of 20 CW, which was super fun.
Well, that's great. You know, and of course, the solar flux is really high. These are some of the best conditions we've had in a long, long time. Did you get to operate any 10 meters while you were up there?
I did a little bit on 10, but not very much.
Okay. How about any CW during that contest?
Yes, I had a couple good runs on CW. Those were definitely my favorite part because SSB, you know, I definitely preferred the CW.
That's great. And speaking about CW, why don't you tell everybody about what you do with the Long Island CW Club?
So I teach the kids intermediate and advanced Long Island CW Club classes. We meet every weekend and just do some CW on Zoom and on the air too, if we can, for about an hour.
Wow. And how long have you been doing that?
August 2021 is when I started teaching, so a couple years now.
Wow. And how many youth and people are in your class?
My classes are pretty small right now just because going back to school, everything's super chaotic. So on a good day, we'll have 5 to 10. Usually it's a little bit less than that, but they'll let me know, hey, I can't make it tonight or something like that beforehand.
Okay. And then you have the Youth DX adventure that you were a part of. Tell everybody about that.
So I was super grateful to get to come back to that actually this year. I came as a operator last year, and I got to come back as a graduate assistant. So I got to help mentor both of the newer kids who came in this year, which was lots of fun. They haven't really done that much contesting yet, so getting to teach them what I knew was super nice. And it was also good for me to go back and like refresh. And then I also got to do CW this year, which was a little bit different from last year. We didn't have any CW, so that was amazing as well.
So that was the call sign was K3Y, and almost 2,000 QSOs in a very short period of time. So that was cool. And then it's the North American QSO Party. Tell everybody about that.
So I got to operate the NAQP from K3LR 2 weeks ago, and that was an absolutely amazing experience. I was single op, so I had the whole place to myself, and it was really cool, like getting up and moving different radios all the time, band switches. It was also the first time I'd done NAQPs anywhere other than our school station, KE8LQR. So there was a lot of planning involved that was like, okay, when am I going to do this? When am I going to do this? I had access to a couple different bands that I do not have at the school station. So that definitely helped my score at the end with the 80 and the 160.
And did you have a lot of fun on 80 and 160, even though it's full of static this time of year?
Yes, 160 at the end was probably my favorite part. I had a couple really good pileups.
No, that is great. And then a little bird told me that you went to DX Engineering and were in the manufacturing facility. What was that day like?
So I was in the manufacturing facility shadowing the production manager for 2 days. That was really, really cool. It's super hard for me to know right now, like what I want to do as a job. I'm going into my junior year of high school, so I'm starting to look at, okay, where do I want to go to college? What do I want to major in? And getting to be there and see like what they do on a day-to-day basis was really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you had any time to sit on a beach or read a book this summer? It sounds like you've been busy the whole time.
Yes, I've been super busy, but everything is worth it.
That's great. Now, when you go back to school, tell us about your school club station.
So last summer, thanks to a lot of generosity from DX Engineering and local businesses and individuals, we finally, after almost 4 years, got to put up a station at my school club, Kilo 8 Lima Papa Sierra. And so over there, we have an ICOM 7300, an ICOM 9700 for VHF and UHF, and then an 11 element beam that covers 10, 15, or 10, 12, 15, 20, and then 17 also, I think. So we're pretty well covered on HF over there. But I'll probably spend a lot of my lunch and study hall periods on the air, probably with CW.
No, that's great. And thanks to everybody that helped contribute to make that club station really good. So, tell us about, like the homecoming dance. Does it conflict with CW sweepstakes? Are you going to have to do, dances and contests at the same time?
Hopefully this year nothing conflicts. I don't have dates yet, so we'll see about that. But
yeah, it's tough to choose being a junior in high school and all the things that go on there, and trying to find enough time to study too when your shack is in your bedroom, right?
yeah, that does prove a little bit of an issue.
But I'm sure your mom and dad will make sure that you keep your priorities straight and keep everything going. Well, Katie, it's been great to catch up with you. We'll have you on again, obviously, but I mean, you have so much going on in the world of ham radio. How do you, before I let you go, tell us about what you think about youth in ham radio and what's going on. I mean, are you excited, or are we doing the right things?
Yes, I definitely, especially in the last 2 years, I've seen a lot of people with bigger stations opening them up to youth to come contest at, which is incredibly helpful to all of us. But just in general, the support for youth is definitely there, and I really appreciate it. It makes staying in ham radio a lot easier for us when sometimes it gets a little hard. You're like, I don't really know what to prioritize. Like, not a bunch of people at my school do this, so it's making me kind of weird, but it makes it worth it in the end. All of the support from people.
Good, good. Well, we look forward to hearing more adventures with Katie as you go through your fall and winter season here as a junior in high school, and being a part of contest teams, having fun, getting great grades, and making a decision on where you're going to go to college. I mean, that'll be on everybody's mind as well. But thanks for coming on, Katie, and thanks for all you do to make this hobby really, really great.
Yep, thanks for having me, and thank you as well.
All right. And thanks to all of you for watching. If you're not a customer of DX Engineering, give us a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how well the process goes. Until next time, 73 from DX Engineering.